History remembers the generals, the kings, the men who commanded from maps. But sometimes, history shifts because of a single, fearless child. This is the story of Andrew Jackson, before he was a president, when he was just a 13-year-old boy who defied the most powerful empire on Earth. The boy who stood up to the British Army and refused to kneel. It was 1781. The American Revolution was dragging into its final years. Brutal, chaotic, and personal. The Carolinas had become a war zone. Redcoats burned farms, seized food, and hunted rebels through swamps and towns. The line between soldier and civilian no longer existed. And in a small South Carolina settlement, a teenage courier named Andrew Jackson was already fighting for his life. At 13 years old, he served in the local militia, carrying messages through enemy lines, watching friends die in the mud, and dodging patrols twice his age. He wasn't a soldier by uniform, but by heart. One night, it all caught up to him. A British patrol raided a farmhouse where Jackson and his brother Robert were hiding. They were dragged outside at bayonet point. Mud, rain, the stench of smoke still in the air. The British officer demanded he clean his boots. Jackson, bruised, bleeding, refused. He said, "I am a prisoner of war, not your servant." The officer raised his sword and slashed him across the face and hand. That scar stayed with him for life, a mark of defiance that became his legend. He was thrown into a prison camp, starving, sick, surrounded by death. His brother would die there. Andrew barely survived, but he never broke. When he was finally released, the war had changed him. He had lost his family, his childhood, and almost his life. But that one act, refusing to kneel, became a symbol of everything the revolution stood for. A boy, unarmed, facing an empire, and saying no. Years later, that same fire would define him. He would rise from an orphaned courier to a general, and one day to the President of the United States. But this story isn't about politics or power. It's about the spark that began in a child. A spark that told an empire, "You can take my freedom, but not my will." Jackson's defiance inspired others across the colonies. Proof that courage doesn't come from rank or age, but from the refusal to submit. Decades later, when Jackson stood at the Battle of New Orleans, the man who once faced a British sword now faced a British army. And this time, he won. He became the hero who defeated Britain's forces, the same empire that once scarred his face. But his true victory had come long before that. In that farmhouse, in that moment, when a teenage boy chose dignity over survival. Most revolutions are remembered by flags, battles, and treaties. But sometimes they're written in scars and in the quiet, burning defiance of a child who refuses to kneel. The teen who captured a British army. History is full of forgotten heroes. If you think this story was extraordinary, subscribe to my channel for more forgotten histories like this.